to win in fantasy football, to win in anything in life, you're going to have to take chances. You're going to have to make risks. You're going to have to get ballsy. On tonight's show, Bindles and I are drafting a big board team. We're talking everything for the Super Bowl, getting ready for the big game, coaching changes, free agency rumors, and rookie updates, all that and more on tonight's show. Let's get right into it.
Because I'm ballsy. I don't take no shit from anyone. Because I'm a stud. I'm ballsy. Anywhere I want.
Yo.
What's cracking, Candyman? How's your night go?
Hey, doing great, my man. Feeling good. And I'm pumped for this draft. I'm pumped for the Super Bowl this week. How are you doing, brother?
Doing great, man. Yeah, lots. Just moved into my new place.
Hell yeah.
Feeling good. And yeah, got to get the streaming setup ready in there so that we can, these ballsy shows are hitting extra hard this season 2.
Yes.
So,
no doubt. Well, good to see you. I see you on social medias. You've been hitting the gym lately. You've been getting that pump in. Love to see it.
Yeah, bro. Got a new woman in my life who's quite jacked.
Shout out.
So I can't let her outdo me. I gotta, it's a new motivation to go even harder. So
love it.
We're getting huge in 2026. That's all I'm saying.
I like it. Yeah, what's the rotation right now? Are we gaining? Are we cutting? Are we hitting the, what are we is leg day every day? What are we doing?
You know what? Right now I'm kind of keeping the same routine I've been in. I like full body or upper lower depending on what's going on, but just rotate between those. So 3 to 4 days per week, and then I'm trying to do a lot more cardio. Whether it's like assault bike, whether it's ski erg, whether it's a little cold, so I haven't been running, but I bought some running shoes. So I'm going to become a cardio bunny in 2026.
Underdog cardio
we'll
club.
See.
You got some new running shoes. What'd you get? What'd you cop?
I got some Hoka's.
Nice.
You know what? I've never owned a pair of I did when I was really young, but I never really have been a runner. So I'm excited to kind of get into that, get some miles in. So
I've never owned Hoka's. Wifey has a pair. My mom runs in Hoka's. I mean, my sister, practically everyone's got Hoka's, right? I don't know why I've never gotten a pair, but I hear great things about them.
I've only ran a couple times in them, but they felt pretty nice. I've never the bouncy experience of running shoes is like a new thing for me, but I was like, wow, it's kind of fun.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. The spring in the step. That's how I felt. I'm trying to think, what was the pair of shoes that I got that felt extra bouncy that was kind of different? I guess it was the first time I got On Clouds, and they had those kind of almost reminded me of like back in the day, like Nike Shocks.
Yeah, dude. That I think my dad had a pair of On Clouds, and I tried them on one time, and I wasn't ready for how bouncy they were going to be. That was pretty crazy.
They're kind of like my everyday tennis shoe for a while, and they're really easy. Like I had the ones you don't have to tie; they just kind of had like the bungee cord, so I'd slide in, slide out. That was pretty nice. But then for whatever reason, maybe my foot's just too wide. They kind of like wore down. They wore out quickly. But there are these like Roger Federer has like a sponsorship deal with On Cloud, and they're called the Roger, and they're like court shoes, but they're like tennis shoes. And that's what I've been rocking. They look much more like a traditional like Stan Smith, like Adidas shoe.
Nice.
So they're super basic tennis shoes, and I don't really run in them, but it's kind of like my everyday go-to. But they're actually, I just realized that those are actually On Clouds too, and I didn't even think about it. I'm thinking of more of like, the On Clouds with like the
little thingy on the bottom.
Little thingy that everyone everyone likes to get.
Yeah, dude, I've been rocking some New Balances, trying to up my
The
swag
dad
game, and
shoes?
dude, they're so comfy. Like, holy shit. I'm gonna buy another pair because I like to have a pair of gym shoes, like just gym shoes, so they don't get dirty and then they last like forever.
Right.
But
I
I
have
I
my,
soiled my gym shoes, so now I need to get a new pair.
I've got some New Balance dad shoes. I try not to wear them to the gym, but sometimes I will, just whatever. But then I like Brooks. Brooks running shoes are kind of my go-to gym shoe. I just feel like they hold up over time. I've got a pair that I've been wearing for probably like 3 years, and I run in them a ton, and they're like besides the tread being pretty worn out, like the shoe just kind of stays together nicely.
Yeah, if you guys have any fitness goals for 2026, put them in the Discord. I have a fitness uh, part of that, so I'll put the link in there. Join in there, and we can push each other in 2026 as well.
Hell yeah. Jump in Dindle's Discord. We're in there. We're talking ball. We're having fun. Some fitness goals. Um, I keep forgetting to put the Discord link in the description here. I need to put it there so I can get readily just toss it into the chat. But you guys
Yeah,
can
all good.
and hit us up if you want to get in the Discord. We're in the 12 spot. This is a big board. I almost accidentally jumped into a bigger board, but this is the big board. They moved the bigger board into the front of the lineup on the clock, and we're going to have a choice between Cook, kind of London
I'm
rain.
good with I'm good with Cook and either McBride or London. You could convince me on Hampton too if you want, but if you want to go with ADP, I'm good with those two.
I think this is a very balanced start. It's two stud players that I like. So let's just go James Cook, Drake London. And then I want to throw something up here since we're on the turn, we've got time. Something I've been messing with. I'm doing my big board tracking. Let me zoom in a little bit on this one. I'm tracking the ADPs. I've got this up to date through today. Rising players are in orange. The falling players are in blue. Cook's been just falling a little bit, but it's from, he hasn't fallen. He's still RB5. He hasn't moved since it opened. He's been RB5. London has gone from wide receiver 6 to wide receiver 7. Neighbors flipped him in the last like 24, 48 hours. But so I brought in a bunch of the data here on their spike weeks, their, all the different times they hit last season. I got average fantasy points, max. But one thing I've set up right now, and I'm going to clear it out because I had a team in there from before, something we can kind of visually conceptualize to look at the team. So we took Cook.
Ooh, I like this.
We took Cook, and then for wide receiver, we took London. So in my little flex model, this is based on the full year 2025 data. We can also toggle it to the second half of 2025, which gives us some different results sometimes. It's interesting. But James Cook would have been 13 or more fantasy points in 69% of his 16 games. So he's going to hit your lineup 70% of the time. Drake London would have hit your lineup 45% of the time, which seems a little bit low for a first round caliber player, but 36% of the time he was giving you 20 or more points. Cook was doing that 38% of the time. And so this is something we can keep track of is we can add up our average fantasy points, add up our max. This is their season max. We got their touches per game. And then when you start to fill out a roster, after you've drafted like 4 or 5 running backs, you want to make sure you're close to like a number like 2 or 3. And same thing with receivers. You want to be like between 3 and 4. So something I can do to make sure my teams are balanced, and I'm making sure I'm filling out those flex positions with high caliber players. With the flex model kind of aims for the middle ground, kind of like not necessarily floor plays, but guys who are consistent. And then I'm keeping an eye on, their elite weeks, 20 plus fantasy points, and then their wide receiver 1 or running back 1, which is like a 17-point threshold.
I really like that. It's a good way to kind of like visually and conceptualize, what I mean? There's kind of like our perception of players, and then there's like what they actually did. And I feel like sometimes
just one more thing to keep tabs on it. So right now we've got Cook at a 6'9" and a 4'5" for London. We can toggle it here to just weeks 9 through 17. And that's when London actually did a little better. He only played 5 into those 9 games. Cook is pretty consistent. He's about the same, right? But then London gets a bump up. He had some nice big weeks out of the 5 games he played in the back 9.
Yeah, and London was injured too, which
Right.
and had Kirko chains, which I don't know, not terrible, but his numbers definitely could have looked better. But how do you feel about Ken Walker?
Overvalued.
Obviously overvalued, do you think? I kind of agree. Like I just feel like it's just the hype of kind of the playoffs and now they're in the Super Bowl. I feel like this happens every year where like the guys that make it deeper into the playoffs
Yeah.
just get boosted up a little bit the next year. So that'll be interesting to kind of track.
That's a great question, though. We'll get more into that after we make these 2 turn picks. We're at pick 36 and 37. That from the 12 spot, we're gonna have access to Kyron and Etienne, which I think are both good picks. Jameson Williams is one of my guys for this year. One of my ballsy takes we'll get into later revolves around Jameson Williams. Garrett Wilson's obviously a good pick every year. Devontae's a good pick. Scattaboo, Henderson, I like. Which of
I'm
these
good with
guys?
I'm good with Kyron first, and
Okay,
then yeah, this range of wide receiver is very interesting to me because I feel like uh, let's go with your guy JMO.
sure.
I'm good with that as our wide receiver two, and then we have a nice balance, two running back, two wide receiver start.
Yeah. So and, obviously Scottaboo Henderson could be great picks in the 4th round. Devontae Adams, touchdown merchant. Garrett Wilson, always good. Seems like he's undervalued. Just to wrap it up on Ken Walker, and I've been saying this even last week. We're seeing him on TV. He's still in the playoffs. That's keeping him fresh in our minds. He's looking good in the playoffs. That's helping. That accounts for something. Charbonnet is going to miss probably half the season. That's also going to bump up Ken Walker's touches, we assume. But maybe they add someone to that backfield. Maybe someone takes over the Charbonnet role and they don't just like give Ken Walker so much more. Even then, if we look at last year, season long for Ken Walker, he actually had a pretty bad year. He would have only hit your flex in 1/4 of his games, and he didn't miss a single game. So he was only flex worthy in 4 games, the same 4 games where he was scoring 17 or more points. So he was either getting you like 10 fantasy points or like 17 or he only broke 20 fantasy points one time, and he had 23.9 points during the regular season weeks 0 to 7 or 1 to 17. He was averaging 0.69 fantasy points per touch, only had 5 total touchdowns. So that's actually really depressing. But then if we look at his second half, if we go to just what happened weeks 9 through 17, it's a little bit better. It's kind of nearly the same though. So in those 9 games, he had his 20-point game, and he's hitting your flex like less than a quarter of the time. So
Yeah, that's what do you think happens with like because Sharps obviously ACL
and so look,
and
Charbonnet's right below, and this is the second half stats. Charbonnet was hitting your flex more often, had just as many spike weeks, had a larger spike with 25 versus 24. They both averaged about 10 points per game. Charbonnet had 0.9 fantasy points per touch, so he's like a whole lot better. Similar amount of touches, over 100 touches each. Ken Walker had 2 touchdowns. Charbonnet had 6. So it was really just Charbonnet getting those touchdowns and being more effective per touch than Ken Walker. And like you said, now with Charbonnet gone, I think Ken Walker does get some more love, and that's like a tailwind for him. But the headwind is he wasn't actually good last season.
yeah, I can see both sides of it. Like I do think he's just I don't know. I think part of it is just he is such like a boom bust player and just the way he runs too.
He
So
only boomed one time,
I know.
except now in the playoffs, he's had some nice games.
Yeah, but I don't know if he is like the lead guy with no Charbonnet. I can definitely see him getting the goal line work, which I think would be huge. Obviously, as we said, Sharps was getting a lot of the touchdowns,
That would help
and
a lot.
then on the off chance that he does, I think people are kind of baking in maybe he's a free agent technically. So if he does leave, in whatever, I don't know. I feel like it's a pretty good situation. Obviously, with a team that is pretty good, then that's you always want running backs on good teams. But yeah, we'll see. I do think he's a little bit overvalued. I will say.
Yeah, and
It is a
there's no
little
doubt. You get a guy
bit.
like DeAndre Swift who goes in round 5. DeAndre Swift had 5 games with more than 20 points. literally 5 times the amount of spike weeks that Ken Walker had. He goes 2 rounds later.
Yeah,
The Bears are arguably just as good of an offense and a team and scoring environment as the Seahawks.
absolutely. And they're ascending as well. So
We're coming back around. So far, we start off with James Cook, Kyron London, and JMO. I have not gotten any Jordan Tyson yet. Usually he doesn't make it back to me, and he does not this time either. I think Cortland Sutton is a nice little discount here.
I'm good with Sutton. Let's go Sutton first, and let's think through the other one.
Otherwise, I like Michael Wilson. I think Parker Washington's actually fine. Brian Thomas also there. DK's there.
Yeah, I don't mind Warren, but I kind of like the later tight end thing we've been doing. So I'm good with Wilson. Yeah, let's take a shot.
Do you have any interest in the running backs that are in this range?
Not particularly.
Okay.
Javonte, I don't know. Javonte probably is a fine pick at this point, but not the sexiest one for me. So I think I'm good going Michael Wilson.
And we took did we take Sutton there, right? We took
Sutton and then
Michael Wilson. I mean, these guys are studs. These are alphas. Michael Wilson is obviously playing behind McBride, but he's just way better than Marvin Harrison. He's what we want Marvin Harrison to be. So this is kind of how our team's breaking down so far. Just with 2 running backs, we've essentially filled almost 1.5 of our season-long roster spots needing to hit the running back. We don't have to start 2, so we're pretty close to done. Like, we have a lot of draft capital in running back. We're feeling good. We're almost at 2 wide receivers, kind of covering our positions there. Obviously, we have to get to like 3 or 4. So we need to keep hammering wide receiver, I think is what this tells us. But that's the full year version of the model. If I go to the second half of the season, we're going to see guys like Michael Wilson pop. He was very effective in the last 9 games with Brissett. He had 2 20-point plus games. He had 3 that were 17-point plus, so like a true wide receiver 1 output. 56% of the time, or 5 out of those 9 games, he was hitting your flex. So that's a guy who I think is actually still going undervalued. We don't know the QB situation. There's a lot up in the air with the Cardinals, but I mean, he just looks so good down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, I think he took a big step, and I'm just willing to buy in on it at this point and see what happens. So I feel like, yeah, I like the start. This is fun. We're still doing our later QB and tight end thing, and I like being at the turn because you can kind of like
plan it out.
You can get it planned out, and also just like whatever. Like there's some, if you want to get a quarterback and one of his pass catchers or something, it's a little bit easier to make that happen with the back-to-back picks and not get completely locked out of some stacks and other stuff like that. So
for sure. Wilson was one of the guys that popped in my second half of the year model. DJ Moore pops. He had 6 touchdowns in 9 games. That's one of the highest down the stretch. That's like JSN had 6 touchdowns. Obviously, the yardage isn't there. He's averaging less than half as many yards per game, but DJ Moore can still spike and hit the lineup. Michael Wilson pops as like a top option at wide receiver. Parker Washington, I'm coming around on him a little bit. I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure out. One thing I want to ask you, Bindles, is it Brian Thomas, Parker Washington, or Jacoby Myers that we want in best ball for 2026?
I think it's not Jacoby Myers is what I'll say. I think the other 2 I'm more willing to take. And then Hunter goes so late that I'm still kind of interested in him, like where he goes. What is it, like 140 or something like that? So yeah, I think Parker Washington showed a lot, and
we're on the clock. Sorry to cut you off. We'll get back to that.
All good.
I threw Pollard out there. I mean, he still had like 250 touches plus last season. He's a workhorse. The team is okay. He did better on the stretch. Are you cool with Pollard, or do you want to grab a QB?
Let's go Pollard first.
Okay, sorry. I feel like I didn't give you enough time there. They have the second pick now. We could do like a Dart, a Lawrence, Prescott, Mahomes, none of them really stack on our team. I'm looking through it. We'd have to like reach up for Bo Nix.
Yeah.
He might come back around, I think. So then are we interested in Alec Pierce? Are we interested in Laporta?
What about DJ Moore? You want to pull up? We were just talking him up.
Yeah, I'll pull him up. I'm in.
I like Dart a lot, but I don't think you need to stack him necessarily with his rushing. But
Yeah.
I think DJ Moore is just undervalued. Like
I love
you
it.
said, he was good, and he might be back with the Bears. Whether he's back with the Bears or not, like I still feel like this is just way too cheap for a guy that he's just kind of fallen out.
Before.
Yeah, he's just kind of fallen out of favor, just like not a sexy player right now. But I don't think he should be going this low.
I think it. I mean, if he goes back to the Bears, like great. If he goes to a different team, he has the opportunity to be a every down player. Last year, I'm going to scroll down to DJ Moore. So last year, DJ Moore was on the field. The amount of snaps he played was 97th percentile. He was on the field more than literally almost any other receiver or running back that we can even like think of. He's just always on the field is what that says. 97th percentile snaps played. That counts for something. Even in the full year, he would have hit your flex a fourth of the time. He had in his 16 games, he had 3 games with more than 20 points. We know he had a bunch of touchdowns. And so, like, if he's back on the Bears, great. And if he goes to a new team, I think he can still be a guy.
Yeah, completely with that. And then, yeah, Pollard, it's tough, but I am encouraged by the Titans' moves. So I think with Dayball there,
right,
should be a lot more competent on offense, and just it. Yeah, they have a lot of draft capital. They have cap space. So
do you want to say something crazy about Pollard?
Yeah.
Oh, Pollard for weeks 9 through 17. So right, Daniel Jones gets injured. Pollard actually was good in the second half. Obviously, Jonathan Taylor had a better game, 48-point spike week versus Pollard's 28. Obviously, JT had about 16 fantasy points per game, which is a lot less than the 21 he had over the whole season. The second half of his season was actually pretty bad for JT. We kind of felt that. But Pollard had just as many 20-point fantasy games. He actually had twice as many 17-point fantasy games. He just had a little bit of a lower floor, where JT would have had more 13-point games and Pollard had less of those. So actually, like from a spiking perspective, if you're going for pure ceiling, yes, JT had the highest scoring game, but we're trying to have a higher scoring ceiling with like we don't know which of those is going to be week 17, right? If Jonathan Taylor put up 48 in week 17, sure, he's the guy. But, consistently having high scoring outputs is also very valuable. And Pollard was able to do that down the stretch. And he's comparable to Jonathan Taylor in that regard, purely in that way. And so it's like, I think he's a little bit slept on.
Yeah, I mean, we took that's for a running back that is a starter and did show what you just showed, right? What he did in the back half, like it's not like the RB dead zone, right? It's like it's late enough where you're just like, okay, like this guy fills my flex whatever, 3-4 times, you feel pretty good. And sure. I think, yeah, we can just now with 3 running backs, we said we allocated the capital early on, and it just gives us flexibility.
Dowdle goes off the board. Wando goes off the board. I'm pretty in on Wandale this year too. It sounds like he is going to go back to the Giants, and I don't think that's a big problem. He's been there the last 2 seasons, and he's had 140 targets in each of the last 2 years. Who do you like to return? Do we stack up Kyron with Stafford? We can get Bo Nix with Sutton. Do one or both of those. The running backs have kind of dried up.
Yeah, running backs are gross. Purdy went, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yes. Do you want to get Stafford?
Yeah, let's get Stafford.
I've been getting a lot of Stafford. And then would you want to grab a tight end here, or do we just keep pushing it? It's a little early for some of these guys. Otherwise,
I say we just push it. Yeah, let's push.
Do you want Nix, or do you want Juwan Jennings free agent?
Let's go Nix and lock up the stack.
I think so too. I think I feel like I'm drafting a lot of Stafford and Knicks because in the 9th and 10th rounds, especially in this 9th round, and Stafford actually kind of fell to us there. Stafford's usually going in the 8th round. We got like a 10 pick slide on Stafford. It's about where Knicks goes. I feel like I'm getting a bunch of these guys because naturally I'm pivoting to QB in this range. And so whether I'm getting Stafford with Devontae Adams or even just Kyron, like it feels totally fine. Yeah, we're paying an expensive price for Stafford, but we just saw we had 48 passing touchdowns, whatever that was. It was insane.
Crazy amount. Yeah. No, I think it's just kind of like a flat area in the draft right now. So I'm just willing to take obviously stacked quarterback and Knicks, and then Stafford just whatever. We can pair him with a tight end later on. We have Kyron as a team bet. So I think it makes sense there to just take the quarterbacks when there's not just a glaring option that stands out otherwise. So
That's it. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And if we waited on quarterback, we kind of get forced into maybe backstacking or not having our optimal. Like we get, we've got London. There's a whole Penix thing later. That's still like a thing, something that we could do. I think our team is pretty balanced. We're definitely feeling good at wide receiver, pretty strong there. We have 3 running backs. We'll probably want to use some volume to fill out the rest of those if we take 3 or 4 more running backs.
yeah, no, I think so far I feel like this is pretty like I do agree. Like I think we can fill out the running backs as we get later on. Did I hear Singleton broke his foot or something? I was
Yeah,
not checked.
that
Okay.
happened. Correct me if I'm wrong, everyone. Was it at the Senior Bowl that he was doing a practice and broke his foot, and they're keeping it hush hush. But the takeaway is he won't do any testing at the combine now.
So yeah, definitely hurts his draft stock because he is one of those guys, right? He could have just blown up the combine, like I think we were talking about. So um, that's okay. I mean,
Yeah,
don't take him as high as we were taking him before, but
for sure, for sure. Say what up to everyone in the chat. Also, we've got our boy Adam, nice and blunt, here in the draft room with us. He's drafting out of the 7 spot. Good to see you, brother. Thanks for being here. We got Hartman, my man. Jeff T, good to see you. Rabona, what's up? Sean, how we doing? Bindles, of course. Sus, my guy. 2 Mules, thanks for the shout. Appreciate you as always. And then Sus says, any chance Stafford retires? Quotes from today from McVay were a little scary, but think he's going to come back after the late season he had. Yeah, I think he's chasing one more Super Bowl. I think he doesn't want to stop playing. And the market's pricing him as if there's no way he retires. He's actually like, he could not possibly get more expensive. So I think we just play it like that until we hear otherwise. Any thoughts,
yeah,
guys?
I mean, there's no way we can predict it. So just yeah, I agree. Just take them for now if we get other news, but it's February. Like
Yeah.
we have no idea.
It's February, but it's definitely drafting season.
It's always drafting season.
We're coming back up since we took Knicks, Mayfield, Shuck, Darnold, Mendoza go. Handful of some interesting kind of running backs and kind of a random assortment of wide receivers. Only Ferguson and Goddard in the tight ends go. So I think we did a good job pushing tight end because we didn't really lose too much value there. Gainwell goes. Coming back around for tight end, it would be Strange. Okay, he goes. I'm not crazy about him. I do like Hunter Henry just fine. If we did want to grab one, we could also get Kittle. Obviously, he's injured. Wide receivers, Butte, Debo. Want to get Casey Concepcion. He's usually not falling to me in this range, but
Yeah, let's get Concepcion. He's fun. And then
are you in on a guy like James Conner? Does Trey Benson get you more excited? They're both going to be the only Cardinals returning. All of the other Cardinals running backs are free agents.
oh man, that's rough.
Hunter Henry, Kittle,
I kind of like
Debo.
Henry. I kind of like Henry.
Just go Hunter Henry.
Yeah, I feel like he's just good first tight end. Going to give you good offense. I don't know. James Conner and Benson, probably one of them is a value, but at this point, so far out, I don't know if I want to be doing that.
Gotcha. if KC goes in the first round, like I've seen him mocked to go in a few different spots, I think he could go to like the Bills. He could go to the Patriots, both teams that would love to have a wide receiver upgrade. And he's kind of like a joystick guy. He's like very shifty. As long as he's not dropping and fumbling punt returns, he should be able to get on the field and I think be an effective playmaker in the NFL. Based on what I saw, I watched a few A&M games. Those were one of the teams that I actually kept tabs on, and they played Texas. I got to see him there too. And my A&M friends, that he's like their favorite. He's the guy they were talking up. He was the one that they were excited about. So, um, if he's going to go in the first round of the NFL draft, we're getting him at pick 130. Last year we were taking Higgins and Burden, who were second round picks, but top of the second round at like ADP 90. So I think this is a good, like, Concepcion is still like a really good pick, I think, for a speculative kind of rookie upside without having to spend all the draft capital on any of the other top four guys, Tate, Lemon, Tyson, or Boston, who all go in the top 100 already. Although I feel like Boston is kind of becoming a value too. He's dropping into the 100 range.
Yeah, you know what? My mission for the next for next weekend is to kind of dive into these rookies more. I've just been so busy that I haven't really been able to kind of like have super strong takes. But yes, that is this week's mission is dive in just so that I'm more informed. But yeah, it's okay. It's still early, not that much going on. We got plenty of time. So
I was listening to a pod earlier today and they were talking about the Super Bowl. They're talking about the 49ers. And Deebo Samuel came up and they were mentioning, okay, he's going to be a free agent. Does he go back to the Commanders? What if he goes to the 49ers? And kind of walking through those scenarios. And it sounds like he's never going to go back to the 49ers. That's like not going to happen. So that I
yeah,
honestly
I
thought it was
don't see
maybe
that.
that could be something interesting because they know how to use Debo and they've got Juwan Jennings going in free agency most likely. So the whole Ayuk catastrophe, maybe I don't know what goes on with Ayuk in 2026. Maybe Debo would be a good fit for them they're trying to salvage this big contract they paid out to Purdy and McCaffrey and Kittle, and now he's injured. So I don't know. Debo could end up literally anywhere.
Yeah, I think he's probably a good pick. Like, I don't know. I know he's older, but this is pretty late for a guy that like he could be a wide receiver to somewhere and
Sure.
just be perfectly fine. So Katron, what does Katron Allen? Should we move him up with the Singleton news where it's just like, I mean, obviously it's not binary, but um, I don't know, just maybe a little bit more hype with him at the guy at the combine. I don't think he's gonna like blow the combine out of the water or anything, but
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a safe pick at 150 to take an upside shot on a rookie running back here on a team where we needed a running back sooner than later. But so we'll kind of bookmark that. Are there any QBs we have to have here, like Willis or Daniel Jones?
no obvious stacks or anything.
I'm gonna let the first pick hit Katron, and then we can
Yeah,
figure out who would we rather have versus Mark Andrews. Otherwise, I feel like he's not the worst name to go for at tight end.
yeah, he's always live for some touchdowns if likely leaves.
Any interest in like Franklin or Tank Dell?
Definitely not Dell. Let's
Okay.
let's just take Andrews.
Okay.
That's we got
Downs here pretty late, but he didn't do the most. Never get really hitting the touchdowns is kind of his weakness in this half point, scoring format. AD Mitchell is shown something, but not the most. So there's not the most, like, this is a range of wide receivers where you're better off just kind of kicking the can down the line a little bit. And because the tier, the tier is all like the same from here on out. The wide receiver tier for me is essentially flat. The tight ends, there's definitely some gradation left. And for the QBs, for running backs, it just continues to get worse and worse every single round about your available options. And so usually when I'm in this range, I'm trying to make sure I get some decent tight ends and do not get behind at running back, because if you're looking for running back help in round 15, it's like a little too late.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, this is man. How do you feel about Tucker? I
He's interesting. He's a free agent. He blows up for one big game a year the last 2 seasons, and somebody might make him a 1B, or maybe he gets into a rotation and can get 8 to 12 touches a game at some point in the season. I don't think he's a fixture anywhere. I think of the free agent running backs who could get a starting role and either be a dual backfield guy or like an actual lead back. It's going to be, for me, it's like Gainwell, Dowdle, and then we think Etienne's going to be a Jag again, so I don't really consider him. I think Javonte is going to be a Cowboy, so I'm not really considering him as a true free agent, even though they both are. Brees Hall, the big name. Brees Hall is the big one, and then Ken Walker is actually a free agent too. But we are assuming that they're going to win the Super Bowl and then try to re-sign him, something
I
along
kind
those lines.
I kind of like White, honestly. I feel like he's such a fancy. I know it's gross,
He's a free agent.
but he's just like he's big and he catches passes, which is always my type. Um, so even if he's like the second back, if he's just like catching passes, can fall into some goal line work. Um, I don't know. I'm coming. He's one of those players where it's like I feel like I'm always just like, where's the price? Like he's going up and going up and going down. When he's low, I kind of am always into him. So
Sure. Um, I I drafted a little bit of him. This is a price range where it's like I'm saying, like there's not a lot of good options, and so a guy who's got some history, a veteran who's had some touches, coaches will trust him with the ball, and like you said, can catch passes. I think he's got value in this range for sure. I mean, he's going after Charbonnet, who's going to miss some amount of time and be coming off a major knee injury. So that's, and Rashad White's not really even hurt. That's kind of interesting. But Charbonnet was better last year, obviously.
100%.
Coming up here, there's a couple running backs I want to ask you about, and then we can also make a decision on our third QB as well. Penix and Brissett are both there. We've got London, we got Michael Wilson. Would you feel better about Penix or Michael or Kobe Brissett?
Let's go Penix just because he's stacked up with London.
Yeah,
I feel like that's
we're
they're just
assuming he's the starter. That's kind of their plan.
Yeah, and then
For running back, Dylan Sampson's there. I was gonna bring up Brooks, but he went. QJ was injured. Do we think Dylan Sampson gets some run or some looks, or is there someone else you like here better?
I like Samson. Let's go Samson. I was gonna say DK, but I don't know if we need the receiver.
Yeah, DK is actually interesting. I like him there too. He played a good amount and showed some flash. We've got these 6 receivers. I'm assuming we'll probably take 7. And so, maybe DK comes back around and people just keep passing on him. If not, I think there's some other similar names that we'll have access to. And maybe we even think, I'm trying to think of because Franklin went before our pick. He was someone that could potentially stack up with Knicks. Penix, I think we're good, probably done there. Stafford, I don't know if we're gonna be able to figure out, which receiver the Rams are drafting and land him on our team, but we could always just take a rookie upside receiver. So I'm assuming we're gonna go like one more receiver, probably 2 more running backs, and 1 more tight end. Kind of a standard 3-7-7-3 build, most likely, unless something falls into our lap.
Yeah, no, that's
Situation I can't figure out, and I don't know if I'm assuming the Jets bring in a free agent running back, right? They've got to.
yeah, 100%.
So they're probably a top landing spot for a guy like Rashad White or even Gainwell. Maybe I'm just trying to think, like Dowdle could end up as a Jet. I could easily see Gainwell or Dowdle being Jets.
Yeah, I think that would be a great landing spot for either of them. Assuming Brees leaves, which I kind of feel like he's going to. Like I feel like he
Right.
just is going to want out of that situation. So, yeah, that could be very interesting. Back to our Samson pick. Like Samson was good. when he played, I feel like he was pretty solid. Obviously, Quinchon came earlier than we kind of all were expecting him to be.
Yeah.
And so but I do think with the Samson injury and new coaching staff, like he was super young as well. I think he was like 20 or 21. I kind of feel like he's a good pick. I want to be taking more of him in this range.
I've clicked him a couple times. I'm open to it. Also Jerome Ford's a free agent. And then yeah, with Quentin Johnson coming back with the major kind of ankle injury and what's his status going to be for week 1? Did they continue to split some workload? Does Samson get some early work? Does he show some flash? Horton is a guy I'm interested in. I feel like he never like falls right to me, and he does go super late. So I just need to make an honest effort to get more Horton on my teams. We're coming up 2 picks here. We've got 4 picks left. Probably looking at running back with one of these 2 picks. And we have the option to go like a tight end or a receiver.
Let's see here. I was gonna say, any interest in B-Rob? What about Ray Davis?
B-Rob's a free agent.
We have James Cook, so I don't know.
Yeah, we've got James Cooks. This is probably a good call not to go him. Keaton Mitchell's a free agent. People always liked him. Manuel Wilson's a free agent. Adam Randall, a rookie.
I kind of like B-Rob.
Should go with B-Rob. And then we have our second pick. We could finish running back and just double tap it here with any of these 2 guys. We could start to look down the list for a wide receiver, or we could finish tight end. I know Otten's a free agent. Tonjes is a free agent. Stowers is there. Freiermuth.
I'm pretty good with Mitchell if you just want to be done with running back.
Yeah, that's totally fair. It's not going to get much better. Maybe Keaton Mitchell just needed some change in scenery to get more opportunities. It's hard to get snaps when you're playing behind both Derrick Henry, and then Lamar's going to run the ball when he's active, and then Justice Hill is their third down kind of 2-minute drill running back. So it was just tough for Keaton Mitchell to get on the field.
He's super explosive. 1 or 2 spike weeks. We'll see. He's never gonna be a lead back.
Sure. Yeah, this is the range where we're just looking for guys who can hit. Flournoy is a pretty interesting name here too. He's another guy that goes late that I like to click. So like DK, Flournoy, Horton. I'm avoiding guys like Trey Harris where we saw them play a bunch and they didn't do anything. I think Trey Tucker is still an interesting pick, assuming he gets a QB upgrade with Mendoza. And he had the second highest spike week among all wide receivers last season, only second to Puka. So that's worth something in its own. The fact that he's capable of that. I think I talked about this in my last stream. Like, I don't like Vele. He's burned me in the past, but he was getting some usage. I think the Saints could also be a landing spot for a new wide receiver. And so maybe that's going to go away. But I can think of worse picks than Vele in like the 18th round range, like in this kind of part of the draft.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't really know what to say about. I don't know what to say positive or negative about Vele. Like, I agree, he's probably not the worst pick in the 17th, 18th round.
He had a few games with like I think 5, 6, 7 targets. Just still though, I don't know what the upside is on him. Keon Coleman's available this late. I feel like he has some upside, even though everyone wants to hate on him. But that's kind of an interesting pick.
Darnell Mooney, I was floating him with Sus. I know it was bad this year, but do we really think he's that bad? Like, I don't think so. It would stack with Penix.
Even Bateman is a guy that goes from like 9 touchdowns to 2 touchdowns, and maybe something's different there.
I agree. What about Besh with Kubiak there?
I think Besh is interesting because we're looking for a year 2 breakout. Kyle Williams kind of fits that bill. I feel like I didn't see a lot from Besh or Kyle Williams to get excited about. Probably we obviously have to pick a tight end as well, unless we just want to go more my wide receiver. or take another running back. We could stop with 2 tight ends. I feel like we probably want a third.
Yeah, let's go with third. Muth. I'm very into Muth. With no Arthur Smith.
I'm just highlighting some guys here. So Mooney, I'm pretty sure he's under contract, or was that? I'm trying to think. What was Mooney's situation? He goes, so it doesn't matter. But I can't remember if Mooney was under contract or if he's a free agent. I think they're going to save money by cutting him potentially.
Okay.
Or they just bring him back with Penix because they had good chemistry. So we have the option. We could do Bateman. We've got Mark Andrews, so there's some team stack there. We don't necessarily have any Raiders. We could always take Besh, like you said. I'm open to whatever you want to go with on the receiver.
Let's go Besh. I feel like there's a little more upside with the Besh. I know he didn't do anything. He was a second round pick.
The Raiders can get better. Tight end wise, there's a couple rookies here. Darren Waller, a free agent. Anything could happen. Red zone target. Okonkwo. Do you want to go Freiermuth instead?
Yeah, it's all Muth for me, honestly. I think Muth is just good, and it's just like, okay, Arthur Smith, he's rotating 3 tight ends all the time. Don't think that's really going to be the case.
Yeah, Muth has been a guy in the past, and so the tight ends, especially the ones who are in the league for like a decade, like Hunter Henry, they just go through these cycles where it's like they're undervalued, they're overvalued, they're undervalued. And I think Muth is kind of part of that cycle now. He's been good in the past. Even Mark Andrews, to an extent, who used to be super elite and now is just like an afterthought.
Buy the dip.
Especially at a tight end position where, it's like Kyle Pitts, afterthought last year, maybe even overpriced, and this year he's definitely overpriced. But that's what you gotta. That's the game we play, right? You're always chasing that.
It's just all touchdowns, right? Like at tight end. So yeah, Muth could score 6 or 7 touchdowns. Mark Andrews could score more than that.
No doubt. Yo, what up, Steve? How we doing, brother? Good to see you. Saw Steve on with PPR a little bit earlier, chopping it up. And then Steve, of course, always putting out his great content with the Fanspeak network. Love to see it. I'm still trying to catch up, Steve. I'm still trying to catch up on all the takes. And I know you've been grinding out these rookies too. Bendels and I were just talking about that. We're trying to play a little bit of catch up, make sure we continue our rookie research as we get into February here of our big board drafts and our prep for Dynasty, everything really, the combine coming up. So that's it. We have the Super Bowl, and then it's just everyone looking forward to the combine and the NFL draft. It's one thing after another, right, brother?
It's the grind never stops. Truly.
Yeah. Do we get Muth versus Cincy in week 17? That would be ideal. About JMO with the new offensive coordinator. That's interesting. Yeah, what's up, Bayou? How we doing? Bendels, do you have any insight about the Detroit Lions new offensive coordinator?
Not particular. I wasn't super jazzed about it, to be completely honest.
John Morton.
Yeah, but I feel like with Detroit, I think last year having what they did was just not they need someone to just mix things up a little bit. And with the talent they have, I'm not too concerned. But in terms of JMO specifically, like I think he's just kind of taken the step where like he's just like established what he's going to get versus before it was kind of, a little bit more here and there. So I think it depends too how Laporte's injury goes on. I think you should still feel good about the Detroit Lions as a very high scoring offense. And I think there is room for a little bit of upside with the new coach. We don't know, what wrinkles he's going to bring in, but I wasn't jazzed about it. I will be completely honest, but I want to just take a step back and just view things from a more zoomed out perspective. So not as a Detroit Lions fan. So.
Right. So Drew Petzing, who was previously the Arizona Cardinals offensive coordinator. His style is more run heavy, gonna be play action pass scheme. I think, Jared Goff is quoted being excited about it. So, uh, you know, there things are changing a little bit. There like one of the things I'm intending to put some research behind as we get deeper into the draft season is these coaching changes. And if there's anything we can try to, you know, learn from them. Another team that comes to mind, the Eagles are constantly changing their offensive coordinators, and Jalen Hurts season production and other players like Saquon, they up and down throughout the years based on who their OC is. The Bears come to mind. It's like looking back on the Bears now with their new head coach with Ben Johnson, like what a difference that made for the Bears, I thought. So I think there can be a huge impact of some of these offensive-minded coaches, whether it's a coordinator or a head coach, switching teams and the implication for fantasy for certain players. I think that is something that gives you an edge if you can read up on it, try to understand what might change, and that's definitely a part of the formula that I want to work into my 2026 draft plans.
Yeah, we should do something kind of like reviewing some of the new
That'd be fun.
coordinators and just like, you know, pontificating on what we think, could change. Because I mean, it really does happen every year where we just like have guys where we just think, okay, this is how it was the last couple of years. Someone right new little mix in the cocktail, and it's a completely different cocktail.
Yeah.
So that would be a fun exercise.
You know who's been tweeting out the updates? I'm pretty sure it's Mike Clay on Twitter, on
Oh,
X. He's
okay.
been pasting out like a nice little sheet about all the coaching changes, head coach, OC, and DC changes, and he fills in the names. And like every time there's a new hire, he reposts it with like an update. Um, I'm pretty sure it's been Mike Clay who I've been liking his tracking of that. So that is something we could do. We could easily grab something like that, an image of that, or a sheet, and then put a little research in, and then us come in maybe in one of these ballsy shows and really speak to that. I think that'd be a great topic to get into and something we could post Super Bowl. We're going to be looking for a little bit more angles. But before we get too far along tonight, and we haven't really touched on it that much, I wanted to get your thoughts on Super Bowl 60, on this matchup. And the way that I want to start it off with is a ballsy take of the week for an outcome in the Super Bowl. So I'm going to run the clip, give you a couple of seconds to get your ballsy take for the Super Bowl ready. If you don't already have one, but I know you do, put you on the spot there, but I got one too.
I got you.
I'm going to run the clip. We're going to come right back with our ballsy take of the week for the Super Bowl.
My ballsy take for the Super Bowl is Sam Darnold wins Super Bowl MVP. 3 touchdowns, deep bomb to Rashid Shaheed, AJ Barner with 1, and JSN with 1. The Seahawks defense just absolutely suffocating Drake May. He's still young. He makes a few mistakes, and it's, I think, like a 10-point win for the Seattle Seahawks. Just too much defense. Sam Darnold, whatever the opposite of seeing ghosts is what he's going to be doing. And I think it's his redemption arc comes and fully completes itself. So
I love it. Yeah, it's the full, redemption, like you said, the arc, the return, the seeing ghosts in the past against this defense. It's a tough defense. The Patriots are a tough defense. They have a great pass rush. They get after it, solid secondary, solid linebacker play. It'll be interesting. It's gonna be a game where the weather is not gonna be a factor like we've seen in some of these other playoff matchups that the Patriots have been involved in. So, um, yeah, that's Sam Darnold getting MVP, I think, is the way to play it if you think the Seahawks are gonna win. It's like people always say, instead of betting on the winner when you're in Vegas, bet on the quarterback to be the MVP because usually it is. It's rarely not the winning QB. But also the last time we saw Cooper Cup in a Super Bowl, he won Super Bowl MVP. So, uh, is he someone that could pop off for the first time all season and have the game of his lifetime, second game of his life, second best game of his life, I guess, but that'd be interesting. Uh,
That would be a pretty crazy story,
no
honestly.
one would believe that. That would be unbelievable. That's more than ballsy. That is just madness if that happens. It was Cooper Cup, two-time Super Bowl MVP. Uh, my ballsy take, I think that it's gonna be somewhat of a lower scoring game. I do think the Seahawks win, but I think it's rare, but I think my ballsy take is that Devin Witherspoon wins Super Bowl MVP on the back
Ooh.
of a pick six or fumble recovery.
Ooh.
It could be that but he's gonna get the ball. He's gonna get a turnover. I'm seeing a pick six potentially against Drake May. Maybe it happens early and the Seahawks never take the foot off the gas. Maybe it's a low scoring game and the Patriots are within a touchdown in the fourth quarter because it's like 16 or 17 to 10 or to 9. It's a very low, or 7 even, low scoring, but I guess it would have to be within one score. But the Patriots are coming back in the fourth quarter. They're trying to force something, and then boom, pick six, game is wrapped up, and Seahawks can run the clock out and really deflates them. So I think he's an impact player for the Hawks. I think he could be a guy that steps up and just cements a legacy. One of these young guys who's always looking. And also, wouldn't it just be something if in perfect kind of reciprocal fashion to the last time we saw these two teams in the Super Bowl, there was a very notorious interception on the goal line, right? It was Russell Wilson throwing the interception so that the Seahawks would lose to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. That was what happened, right? So wouldn't it just be something if the tables turn around and now we see, I don't wish anything bad on Drake May, but I just think the Seahawks are going to win. And wouldn't it be interesting to see, in Drake May's last possession, he throws either a big pick or a big pick six that really, you know, ends the game, ends their hopes. That would just, it's a perfect mirror image of what we've seen in history. Maybe history repeats itself in some ways.
I like that ballsy take. I think, yeah, the Seahawks defense is just filled with playmakers, and Witherspoon is certainly one of them. So um, I think there's going to be, yeah, whether it's Witherspoon, whether it's um, one of the other DB, like I think there's just going to be one, right? That's usually what happens in the Super Bowl. There's like one or two plays that really swing things, and so I'm 100% with you on that one, and I agree. I think it's Seahawks as well. So we'll see. Maybe it's even more on the back of the defense than I was anticipating. So
These are very good defenses, and there's a lot of fun skill position players on both offenses too. Ramondre's had some good games. We love Travion Henderson. We love JSN. Ken Walker's got all the hype right now, even though I was calling him overvalued. It's all relative. I think he's a beast, right? And then yeah, anything could happen in one football game. I like that they're playing in good weather in Santa Clara, so I would be, and they typically do that. The Super Bowl typically rotates through domes and fair weather places. It would be such a like a letdown for me if this was a snow game that's like leans into the Patriots' advantage. I would be like, I don't want to see that. I want to see action, right? That like
100%.
Texans versus the Patriots, like disgusting football, and then even the Broncos game, both exciting, but I guess without Bo Nix, that was kind of a thing.
I think it's going to be a good game. I think
I hope so.
I do think just I feel like a lot of times you're like, okay, go for the better quarterback, and Drake May has been that over the entire season. But I think to your take, I think the Seahawks defense is just too good. In Drake May, as good as he has been, I think he's going to make a few mistakes, one or two here or there, that will swing the game.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and I think probably it's Sam Darnold's been balling out the last 2 seasons. One of the articles I read on The Athletic early this morning, I was trying to look for some things to get me hyped for the Super Bowl, and I don't have the article pulled up right now, but essentially it's just talking to all of the changes that the Seahawks made coming into this season, right? So they hire Mike McDonald. Recently he's a newer coach for them, and then the big change was letting Geno Smith go and bringing in Sam Darnold. It all started a couple seasons ago when they traded Russell Wilson. They got a bunch of picks for that. Uh, Turned that into a bunch of impact players for them. Um, so it just their GM, John Schneider, has just been a huge key piece into building their team year after year. They're a competitive team last year, but they didn't make the playoffs. This year, they're a dominant team. A brand new quarterback comes to town, just finding the talent on offense, on defense in the draft, making really savvy moves year to year. I think that's what it's all about, to be competitive. And now we have the Seahawks in the Super Bowl for the 3rd time in 11 years, which is pretty hard to do. You think of a team like the Cowboys, who haven't been to Super Bowl in their entire lifetime.
Yeah, they're a well-run organization, and they gambled with getting rid of Geno,
And Russell Wilson before that.
Yeah, and getting Russell Wilson before that.
They sold high on Russell Wilson. They got a 1st and a 2nd for him.
I think too many times, we look with the Steelers, obviously very good franchise, right? They know what they're doing, but you can just get so comfortable with just winning enough games, but you just get stuck in the middle. So I think shout out to the Seahawks for being ballsy and, like I said, shaking things up. One or two small things can make a huge difference. And at the end of the day, the famous "we're all going to lose anyways." You got to be aiming for Super Bowls. You're not aiming for making the playoffs and losing the first round, like the Steelers. So, yeah. Shout out the Seahawks.
Yeah, the Seahawks. They're. I think everyone can rally behind. Not everyone, but a lot of people can rally behind the Seahawks. They're not the Patriots that were sick of winning. They're not the Chiefs that we're sick of seeing in the Super Bowl. And so it's a team that is pretty neutral and has their own character, their own, city, their own culture, their whole thing. And so it's kind of fun to get behind. Shout out to JT. What's up, brother? Rabona King's trying to fill a bigger board tonight. If you want to jump into a bigger board, he's looking to fill one. I think it's getting close. I think ML had some really great points here about them playing in New York a few years back for that Seattle-Denver game. And then, the weather plays a factor. And so if you want a good broadcast, right? You want to kind of set them up for success. And I think everyone who's there enjoying the game as well, not just the players, they don't want to get snowed on. You're paying like $10,000 to sit there. I don't think you want to get snowed on.
Definitely not. Yeah, you gotta get it warm or a dome. Come on.
Yeah. 8 Crazy Nights, what's up, brother? Says, what round are y'all taking Mendoza in redraft Superflex? Oh, I don't really have a good sense on that. I haven't done any Superflex drafts, but based on where he goes, he is currently, on our big board here. I'm just going to reference his positional, where he's at, right? He's QB 21. So I'm cool taking him the same place you're taking Shuck or Darnold. And I probably still prefer Baker, but you could easily sell me on Mendoza over Shuck. Darnold, I think he's been balling out. Obviously, he's in the Super Bowl, so it's a little bit hard for me to get there with him, but he's a pocket passer as well. I think Mendoza could have some mobility to him. We saw it in the Natty. So I would say you're totally justified to take Mendoza well ahead of Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, Cam Ward. I think he's more exciting than them. The question just comes, how much do you value the mobile quarterbacks, the rushing upside with guys like Kyler and Malik Willis, who are QBs like 25, 26, and where they might land if Kyler doesn't go back to the Cardinals, if they move on from him, wherever Malik Willis ends up, maybe he's a Jet, we don't know, maybe he's a Steeler, hard to say at this point, but you know, given a new landing spot for those two quarterbacks, I could see them jumping up.
Yeah, I think. Oh. Wait, sorry. Who was the last guy you said?
Oh, Malik Willis and Kyler
yeah.
Murray. I feel like both of them could end up on new teams, have rushing upside. They're mobile quarterbacks. For fantasy, they could be pretty enticing. They could rise up above some of these pocket passers like Darnold or even Mendoza to some extent.
Yeah, I think Mendoza is going to get real steamy. Just number
Baker.
1 overall pick.
Yeah, his
Baker is huge value. I just feel like it was a weird season. I don't want to hold it against him too much. He still has really good weapons, and whatever. He's a gunslinger. Like he's a little hot and cold, and with everything else going on. And then
he was injured. He had the shoulder injury. He was all banged up. Exactly. He's got great weapons, great receivers. I think Baker is a good value.
I think Kyler. I was thinking about this the other day. Actually, it just randomly came to me. I was just like people just always have hated Kyler, but like for fantasy, he's going to be a starter somewhere. Like Kyler Murray is not going to be a backup. Okay. So if he's a starter, right? Assumption number 1, like he's never been bad at fantasy scoring. Like he's maybe you can argue he's bad in real life, but he's going way too cheap. Yeah, I was thinking about it from a dynasty perspective, but I'm just like, people are just completely soured on him. And it's like, he's not old. He didn't have some catastrophic injury. It kind of went to shit. Like,
yeah.
And on a really bad team. Okay.
They're kind of tanking too. And so they were starting Brissett. Were they starting him in good faith, or were they really trying to tank? It's hard to say. I thought Brissett was good for fantasy. Maybe I'm overconfident that Brissett is going to get a starting gig somewhere. And I guess I'm kind of thinking it's in Arizona, but maybe he's more of a bridge, and I don't know. The free agent quarterbacks, there are some options. Does Arizona see it's a big upgrade to go out and get someone and then move Kyler and then not move Brissett? Because both Kyler and Brissett are under contract, so it's interesting, right? But I think they do move Kyler. I think it's time.
I think so too. I think it's just both sides want a divorce. They just are like, okay, we're fine. Split our assets. Let's go our separate ways. So I don't know, man. It just, to me, it doesn't really matter about where he goes. Is he starting, and is he Kyler Murray, and like he's going to be scoring fantasy points. Like I don't care. Like all other points are just null and void to me. Like it just doesn't matter how good he is at real life NFL football. That's a completely separate thing from fantasy football. He runs, and he's good enough at passing. That's all that matters. Like, which you can kind of say the same thing for Malik Willis, and I know we saw a good game from him recently, but I still have more faith in Kyler.
I agree.
With the pedigree, Heisman Trophy winner, number 1 overall pick, like has always been whatever. I don't know. You can. He's always been good at running and scoring fantasy points. I don't know about actually winning games, but.
No doubt. Yeah. No, I think you said it perfectly there. And I need to get more Kyler on these teams, regardless of where he's going to land. I think he's a great option where he's going late. Like Suss is saying, he's going 40 picks later than what we were taking Justin Fields last year. And you know who's definitely not going to be a starter this year for 2026? That's Justin Fields. He's not going to be starting anywhere. Yeah, what's up, Emo? Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for being here, my friend.
Hey,
Daniel,
yo.
do you want to give us a little rundown, a recap of this sick big board team that we draft? This absolute ballsy masterpiece. This bunch of studs on this team. I mean, just what do we got here?
Hell yeah, brother. We got Frathu Stafford. He's not retiring. Okay. We're getting QB1 on the season next year again. Bo Nix stacked up with Cortland Sutton, Michael Penis stacked up with Drake London, and then we have perfectly cromulent quarterback room. I think it's actually a pretty good quarterback room, especially stacked with London. Penix, if he comes on a little bit slower, we don't really care about that anyways. And then we have some studs at running back up top. James Cook, Kyron Williams filled out the rest of our room with TP Tony Pollard, a rookie Katron Allen, who maybe gets a little bit of a boost with his fellow Penn State guy breaking his ankle. Who knows? Dylan Sampson. What?
His foot.
His foot. Yeah, sorry.
Fake news.
Dylan Sampson, B-Rob, and Keaton, the Missile Mitchell. And then wide receiver, we have Drizzy Drake London, J-Mo, Cortland Sutton, like I said, stacked up. Michael Wilson, better than Marvin Harrison Jr. DJ Moore, severely underpriced. Casey Concepcion, the sexy, spicy rookie. Jack Besh. We have new coach, Fernando Mendoza, completely new revamped Las Vegas team. He was a second-round pick. Took a little bit for him to get going. Dumpster fire situation. He's going to turn it around this year. And then 3 just perfectly cromulent white tight ends that are going to score touchdowns in 2026. Hunter Henry, Mark Andrews, and Muth. I like this team. I really do like this team. It's like a perfect balance.
It's a pretty balanced team. Something that we have been leaning into. We're looking for upside with Katron Allen. If he can be anything remotely close to, and I'm not saying he is, but anything remotely close to a Scadaboo or a Harvey or a Henderson or even a Quinshon Judkins type outcome for a stretch of the season, he's a great pick there where he's going. I'm not saying he'll do that, but that's kind of the hope. Our wide receivers, I've noticed this sometimes. It looks like just there's not enough depth there, but I think we're covering it up top. I mean, the especially on teams where I'm taking Michael Wilson as the guy I need to be dependable and like be a guy. I just have to kind of like reimagine, like, what if that was what I thought Marvin Harrison was going to be? I'd feel much better about this team. But for some reason, the like cognitive dissonance between seeing Michael Wilson on my roster and getting excited is just there's something in the way there. But I think you don't need much more than this. Jameson Williams, yes, new offensive coordinator, like we talked earlier, but splash plays, big weeks, great offense. There is something to figure out, though. Is there a lot of changes going on? Sutton's getting older, but he's old, reliable, another 1,000-yard season, and he's still their top alpha receiver, top target. So I think this is the kind of like general build that I think is going to be kind of most of my teams are going to look something like this. Mid to late QBs, well-balanced running backs and wide receivers, and we're from the 12 spot too. So I think that was another thing that we had going for us. When we started off early, we go Cook and London, and then Kyron and J-Mo. So we had kind of the option to control how we started there. And then the late tight ends, like what do you really need if you're not going to get McBride? Who else gets you super excited? I get a little bit excited about Tyler Warren. I think he's a guy that I want to get some of, and I'd pay up a little bit for him. You could probably make a similar case for Harold Fannin. But besides that, I mean, we see guys like Ferguson and Goddard even going past pick 100 after having good seasons, right? So Kraft is surprisingly expensive. I think Gadsden is nicely priced. Maybe Laporta is kind of a trap where I don't know. I wonder if Laporta can really get back to that like top 3, top 4 status, or if he's just another guy and us getting Mandrews and 6 rounds later is just a better value.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about Laporta. Like he is a good football player, but I think that rookie year we're gonna look back and be like, that was
Peak.
the peak. Yeah. But no, other guy I'm pretty in on Kraft. I feel like
Sure.
I get it, he's coming off an ACL, but it was early enough. I'm not super worried about it. He's just such a dog that I know that you can't quantify that, but I just feel like I'm assuming like if he's ready for week 1, I'm going to be like this, he'll be going way higher.
Sure.
And Gadsden, I know I've talked ad nauseum about the Chargers, but I want all the pieces. So I think he just has a lot of upside as well. So it is weird though, because structurally I don't like to take those kind of like middle-ish round tight ends. I'm kind of like we have been doing. We've been taking just 3 late, but I think you can do 3 with 1 in like the middle rounds and then just 2 later on as well. So I kind of want to be mixing in, particularly Warren, like you said, I think just has like a lot of upside. Kraft and Gadsden would be my favorites. Laporta, I think we can look like in a year and he's going pick 130 or something. It's just like, okay, he's fine. He's attached to the Lions, but he's not anything crazy. So
that's smart. That's a good way to look at it. I was reflecting on the draft, and the drafter in the 2 spot goes Jacobs, Watson, and Kraft. I was like, oh, this guy's cooking. And then I'm assuming he got loved. He got loved, but no, he didn't take Love in the 9th round. Instead, he goes for Price, tries to push Love. And I mean, I would have, hindsight 2020, but I would have definitely grabbed Love there, even at pick, 90, whatever, 8. Let's say it's 10 picks ahead of ADP or whatever. It's like he already had a triple stack with the Packers, so why not just go all the way there? At the same time, you can always replace QB, so maybe that was his thought process. He goes Chuck Darnold and Kirk Cousins, which I don't necessarily love. I just don't know if he's going to be starting much or if at all. So interesting. A question I had for you too, Ben.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no. Colston Loveland, how much are you going to have of him if he's pick 40, kind of in this very early part of the draft? He is tight end 3.
2% exposure blanket.
Damn.
Like I don't know, man. Like he's not a 4th round tight end. Like I don't get it. Like I don't know. I just feel like we do this every single year. We always have this rookie tight end that comes and does amazing, and then it's just I feel like it literally happens every year. And I do think he's good. I do think he's on a good offense. So like I get the enthusiasm. I just think it's people are out a little bit over their skis personally. But because like what does he realistically, what does he need to do to pay off that price?
Become Trey McBride.
Yeah, like
or Brock Bowers.
Like we're looking at like probabilistically speaking, like what the range of outcomes he would need to hit. It's just not a gamble I'm willing to make. So
it's an uphill battle. It's a tough one. I'd rather go with Warren, Fannin, or even Gadsden later and hope that, although it's slim that any of those 5 guys, any of these sophomore tight ends would ever get to like a Bowers or McBride status, that the odds that probably the other 4 of them do it, I don't think it's that much worse than Loveland, but he's just priced way higher on the draft capital curve. He's like twice as expensive as Gadsden. More than that. He's literally like way more expensive.
Yeah, especially if you're like, because it's
you could get Henderson or Harvey there, and they could be league winners.
And it's not like, yeah, like when you think about the draft board, right? So we talk about like an auction draft or something. Like the
Yeah.
fourth round is worth like it's not it's way, 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 way more than like where Gadsden goes. Like it's not even close. So
Let's go. Speaking of, let's go look at our, where is it?
this man's a freak in the
Oh
sheets.
gosh. I didn't mean to do that. Here it is. Boom. Sorry to blind you. Yeah, fourth round is what would that be? We going pick 40. That's like 89 relative value, 133 being the max. So that's 2/3 of a Bijan Robinson is kind of the price. 2/3 of a Bijan Robinson versus Gadsden going to pick 100, and that's like I don't know, about a fourth or a little bit more of a Bijan Robinson. So just a huge difference there in what you're giving up and what you're trying to get on the draft capital curve. Makes sense. It makes sense why. I mean, it's gonna be tough. I am gonna want to have some Loveland,
Yeah.
but then if I have Loveland, you sure as hell better just nail all of the other spots on your draft to be able to get that team through and not give up too much if he doesn't just crush. And you probably do want him stacked with Caleb, but now you're spending 2 of your top 6 picks on flex positions. Assuming, I mean, you could always flex Loveland, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah.
this team probably did it in an interesting and probably actually not a bad approach. You get the elite tight end, you get a pretty close to elite QB the way you've had to pay for him. It's the stack, and then you're going 0 RB, and that's kind of what he does here. And
It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Caleb going over Jaden Daniels, Burrow, Jalen Hurts,
Yeah,
Justin Herbert.
I won't do
Like
it very much.
that's pretty
If at all.
crazy, man. Like I don't
Over
know.
Hurts. But I mean, so then, like, to his point, to his credit, he grabs a Dunze for the double stack with Williams. He also gets Monangai for the team stack. And then I don't know, maybe Mac Jones is a starter somewhere. I've heard rumblings of Mac Jones going to be a starter somewhere, maybe for the Vikings, right? So that could be interesting. That could end up paying off.
McCorkle.
Yeah, McCorkle. Probably, and this is something we'll definitely get into in future episodes, but talking about like big fades or big stands in the first like 4 rounds is something we can also get into as like another big topic. Get Loveland being kind of where we focus our attention today, but there's another 4 names that I see in the first 4 rounds. And I don't even want to open the can of worms, but we'll get into them and we'll have plenty of time to get into it. Bendels, the rest of this week, what's your stream schedule looking like, brother?
We are going to be playing it by ear this week. But yeah, gonna message the boys and hopefully get one the rest of this week. So
Nice. And I know you're working on your dynasty ranks. We've got the Discord popping and just kind of moving around in there, getting some things lined up, having some conversation. Obviously, dynasty season is in full swing as well. People are excited about the rookie drafts. And I know it's still the week before the Super Bowl, but Super Bowl, Combine, and the NFL draft, it all just that's the flow, and we're there. We're getting into it.
all up from here. Yeah, I do want to do a dynasty kind of like startup strategy video as well. I'm not sure if I want to do a stream or do kind of like a video just pre-recorded. So still determining that, but gotta dig deep into the dynasty streets and give my takes as well. So
Good stuff. We'll be on the lookout for that. A pleasure drafting with you on this beautiful Monday night. As always, my friend, thanks for being here. Make sure you guys are subscribed here and also to Bendels' channel. All the links in the description. Follow us on our social medias so you know when we're going live. Every Monday night, we're drafting best ball teams, talking ball. So tune in. You can catch me going live next on Wednesday night. I'll be doing my PGA best ball and PGA preview for the Waste Management, the Phoenix Open. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're interested in PGA Best Ball, PGA Fantasy, one and done content, catch me live then. And I'll be drafting more big board teams later this week as well. So have a great night, everyone. Have a great week. And we'll catch y'all in another one soon. Stay ballsy, my friends. Peace.